Hey everyone, welcome back. This is the last installment of our Kendeda tour, and today we're going to focus on three more petals of the Living Building Challenge: the place petal, the health and happiness petal, and the beauty petal. We're going to start with place, and here we are at the entrance to the building. I'm sitting on the ledge here by the constructed wetland, and I'm going to read you the description of the place petal. The intent of the place petal is to realign how people understand and relate to the natural environment that sustains us. The human-built environment must reconnect with the deep story of place and the unique characteristics found in every community so that the story can be honored, protected, and enhanced. The place petal clearly articulates where it is acceptable for people to build, how to protect and restore a place once it has been developed, and how to encourage the creation of communities that are once again based on the pedestrian rather than the automobile. In turn, these communities need to be supported by a web of local and regional agriculture, since no truly sustainable community can rely on globally sourced food production. The continued spread of sprawl development and the vastly increasing number of global megalopolises threaten the few places that remain. The decentralized nature of our communities impedes our capacity to feed ourselves in a sustainable way and also increases transportation impacts and pollution. The overly dense urban centers in turn crowd out healthy natural systems, isolating culture from a sense of place. As prime land for construction diminishes, more development tends to occur in sensitive areas that are easily harmed or destroyed. Invasive species threaten ecosystems which are already weakened by the constant pressure of existing human developments. Automobiles, which are often used as single occupancy vehicles, have become integral to our communities when we should depend on people power, walking and bicycling as the primary mode of travel, and supplement it with shared transit. So, to build on this particular intent for the place petal, there are a few imperatives that are associated with it. One has to do with limits to growth, and it really dictates where the building can be built. So this building is situated at the corner of First Drive and State Street, and this site actually used to be a parking lot. So that's considered to be a gray field. This was a site that had already been developed, and so we weren't destroying any of the sensitive habitats to be able to construct this building. The imperative states that projects may only be built on gray fields or brown fields, which are previously developed sites, and not that site also cannot be classified as on or adjacent to any of the following sensitive ecological habitats. So that includes wetlands, primary dunes, old growth forest, virgin prairie, prime farmland, or the 100-year floodplain. So none of the buildings that are going to be certified through the Living Building Challenge can be located in any of those particular types of habitats. Also, imperatives of this particular petal are that the landscape must be designed so that it matures and evolves. It emulates the functionality of the reference habitat with regard to density, biodiversity, plant succession, water use, and nutrient needs. So we're going to walk along the outside of the building and sort of take a look at what that landscape design was and how it was specially designed to mature in an interesting way. The site also should provide wildlife and avian habitat appropriate to the project's transect, which means where it's located, through the use of native and naturalized plants and topsoil. So as we look around, all of these plants that are used in this project are native plants and reflect the biodiversity of this Piedmont region that we're located in. Another imperative of the place petal is urban agriculture. All of these plants actually in the constructed wetland have edible elements associated with them. I think we've already looked at the muscadines that are growing up that wall. That's another part of our edible urban agricultural landscape. And we'll go up on the roof in a little while, and I'll show you some of the space that's available up there for planting. We've harvested most of the plants so far this year, but I'll show you that. And it dictates that a certain percentage of the project site has to be dedicated to the production of food through this urban agriculture imperative. And the final imperative for the place petal has to do with offsets. An equal amount of land away from the project site must be set aside in perpetuity through the Institute's Living Future Habitat Exchange program. Okay. And the last imperative of the place petal has to do with human-powered living. All projects must secure weather-protected storage for human-powered vehicles like bikes. So this is indoor weather-protected storage. We have some outdoor right here. It's not really weather-protected. It's a little bit sheltered with the solar panels above, but I'll show you the indoor bike racks in a little while. Consideration and enhancement of pedestrian routes. So we have a beautiful pedestrian route that runs alongside the building. The sidewalk on the front of the building and along State Street has also been enhanced. The promotion of the use of stairs over elevators, and we've seen that. The staircase is very centrally located in the building and is actually much more easy to access than the elevator is. And then finally, advocacy in the community to facilitate the uptake of human-powered transportation. So working toward encouraging people to walk more and bicycle more. Depending also on where the building is located, transit subsidies are encouraged, showers are required, and we have showers in the building, and there needs to be at least one electric vehicle charging station. Okay, so let's take a walk now, and we'll take a look at the beautiful habitat around the building. And we'll spend some time outside, because part of the point of this video is to sort of think about the living building like we think about ourselves. As we're encouraging the incorporation of healthy environments in our built environment, we also need to be thinking more internally, thinking about what we can do for ourselves. So we're going to spend some time in this video focusing on ourselves, and we'll do that in the beautiful landscape alongside the building. So let's walk now. Make sure I've got all my things. Here's the constructed wetland, and here is the side of the building. We're going to walk along the side of the building now. All right. You can see ahead, again, the construction site of the Eco Commons, which is going to be a beautiful, beautiful natural landscape. We can already see some of the features going in. A beautiful staircase, some natural stones, some new trees that are going to grow and mature over time. Also in this landscape here, we see some new trees that will grow over the next several years into a more mature landscape. This is situated in a west-facing way. I'm here in the afternoon. It's a beautiful time of day. The light is filtering through the mature oaks over in the Eco Commons, and it's coming and shining a light here on this side porch. We have more of the constructed wetland area and the native plantings that we're looking at. There's some construction going on, working on the Eco Commons. And then down here, we have some more of the nice seating area that is set up for us to enjoy this beautiful outdoor space. Okay, so what I'd like for you to do now is find a space where you can consider this place. Consider where we are in the country, where we are in relation to home. And we're going to do a short guided meditation. You can do it out here, or you can head inside the building. I'm going to go ahead and go inside the building, and after the meditation, we'll check in there. But find a spot, pause the video now, and find a nice spot that you feel like you can sit comfortably and rest and relax and think about place for the next several minutes.
Take a comfortable seat. Close your eyes and try to sit up. Put your shoulders back, but rest gently. Take a few deep breaths. Now, without forcing the breath, pay attention to each inhalation and each exhalation as they occur. It might help to count during each breath. 1 in, 1 out. And if your mind wanders, that's okay. Every time your mind wanders, just return to paying attention to the breath and see if you can identify when each breath begins and when each breath ends. Don't feel like your breath needs to be any particular pace. It doesn't need to be necessarily deep. Just notice whether it's shallow. Notice any sensations in your body as they arise. Notice the way your feet feel on the floor or the way your back feels against the chair. Pay attention to where you feel the breath the most. Do you feel it at the tip of your nose? Do you feel it in your chest? Do you feel it in your belly? Keep paying attention to each cycle of breath, when it begins and when it ends. You might notice sounds where you are. Just notice when they start and when they fade. Don't try to anticipate any sounds. Just experience them. Notice them as part of the landscape of sensation that you're experiencing. If your mind starts to wander, just return to paying attention to the breath. Okay, and that's it. 5 minutes of meditation. You can do this whenever you feel stressed. Just take a moment to empty your mind of thought. Focus on what you're feeling at the moment without any kind of judgment, and just be where you are.
Okay, so hopefully that meditation was useful to you and is something that you can turn back to through whenever you need it. Remember, that's always there, whether you have this video with you or not. As we go on, we're going to shift and talk about a couple of more petals. The first of which that we're going to discuss, this is the simplest, is the beauty petal. The intent of the beauty petal is to recognize the need for beauty as a precursor to caring enough to preserve, conserve, and serve the greater good. As a society, we are often surrounded by ugly and inhumane physical environments. If we do not care for our homes, streets, offices, and neighborhoods, then why would we extend care outward to our farms, forests, and fields? When we accept billboards, parking lots, freeways, and strip malls as being aesthetically acceptable, in the same breath, we accept clear cuts, factory farms, and strip mines. The imperatives of the beauty petal are beauty and spirit, and that is stated as the project must meaningfully integrate public art and contain design features intended solely for the human delight and the celebration of culture, spirit, and place appropriate to the project's function. As you look around the building, I think you'll see that beauty is reflected primarily in the way the architecture is designed, and the way that light and natural substances like wood have been incorporated into the building. The next imperative of the beauty petal is inspiration and education. And all living buildings must publish a case study, have an annual open day for the public, and make an operations and maintenance manual available. And I'm sure you've explored the livingbuilding.godtech.edu website and seen all of the educational information that's there. I'd also encourage you to check out the social media feeds for the Kendeda building. There are a lot of really interesting information that's available there. And finally, we're going to talk about the health and happiness petal, which is our final stop on this Kendeda Living Building Challenge petal tour. The intent of the health and happiness petal is to focus on the most important environmental conditions that must be present to create robust, healthy spaces, rather than to address all of the potential ways that an interior environment could be compromised. Many developments provide substandard conditions for health and productivity, and human potential is greatly diminished in these places. By focusing attention on the major pathways of health, we create environments designed to optimize our well-being. The Living Building Challenge envisions a nourishing, highly productive, and healthy built environment. However, even the best available solutions require acceptance and engagement by project occupants and the project owner. It's difficult to ensure that developments will remain healthy over time, since environmental conditions such as air quality, thermal control, and visual comfort can easily be compromised in numerous ways. It can also be complicated to ensure optimal conditions due to the unpredictable nature of how people operate and maintain indoor spaces. Therefore, the imperatives for this petal are that first, you have a civilized environment. Every regularly occupied space must have operable windows that provide access to fresh air and daylight. And many of these windows in the Living Kendeda building can open, and they're scheduled to open when conditions are favorable. So when the temperature is correct, when it's not raining, etc., these windows will open, and there are even some large doors on the first floor that open and are beautiful under the right conditions. The next imperative is the healthy indoor environment, and that is mostly focused on air quality. The project plan includes that they must meet certain standards of air quality. You have to undergo air quality testing. If you notice when you walk into the building, there are some sort of metal grates that you walk over, and that knocks the dirt off your shoes so that you don't bring particulate matter into the building that will then diminish the air quality. And then things that have to do with cleaning, the cleaning products have to comply with the EPA Design for the Environment label or some kind of equivalent, and there have to be dedicated exhaust systems for kitchens, bathrooms, and janitorial areas. And of course, no smoking. Finally, the final imperative for the health and happiness petal is the biophilic environment imperative. And this says that the project must be designed to include elements that nurture the innate human-nature connection. Each project team must engage in a minimum of one all-day exploration of the biophilic design potential for the project. And an exploration must result in a biophilic framework and plan for the project that outlines how the project will be transformed by incorporating nature through environmental features, light and space, and natural shapes. How the project will be transformed by deliberating, incorporating nature's patterns through natural patterns and processes and human-nature relationships, and how the project will be uniquely connected to place, climate, and culture through place-based relationships. So that concludes our tour. I hope that you will make use of this space as you need to rest and recharge, to enjoy an environment with good air quality and a pleasant atmosphere that provides a connection to nature, both indoors and outdoors, and considers where the building is in nature, that is part of this Piedmont ecosystem that has a mix of different types of vegetation, including shrubbery, trees, and that you can spend some time here, both indoors and out, enjoying and observing the wildlife and other natural elements of the building. The last bit of this tour is going to be a tour of the outdoor garden that's on the roof. So now I'm going to walk right now I'm on the south end of the building in these beautiful gray chairs, and I'm going to walk down to the roof. So let's go down that way. This ramp. Right now, I think the space is locked, so I'm gonna out. And this is the rooftop garden. So we have a space here. This is an outdoor lab where we keep our equipment for the Urban Honeybee project. I'll take you in there. Here's our outdoor lab with the beekeeping kits and all of the smokers and the equipment for the bees. This door opens, so on nice days we can open it and just walk right in through that door. And then this is the area that's most dedicated to urban agriculture on the site. All of these bushes are blueberry bushes and provide a lot of blueberries. Blueberries, blueberries, blueberries. This area is pollinator-friendly plants. So it's forage for animals, forage for bees, forage for birds. All of the seeds in here would be a good forage for birds. So this is not human food, but rather animal food. And then this area, which is barren at the moment, is where we have had a number of crops planted over the course of the season. There were sunflowers, squash, is that right? Squash and corn, I believe, were the main crops that were grown in this area over the summer. And then over here, we have our honeybee hives, which of course produce honey. And we can see the bees going in and out. It's a chilly day, but it's warm enough for the bees to fly. So here they are.